So we have 7 floors, 128 masters, that all could potentially have a servant, and they're all in like a giant battle royale to race to the top floor. Tower of God much? Okay, I know that there's some distinctive differences between Tower of God and this, but I'm just like, it reminded me of it. I got like heavy Tower of God feels when I saw like everybody's racing to the top and all of that. I'm like, just the vibes I'm getting from this episode. But anyways, let's get into Umu. Yes, the one and only Red Saber, the Saber that I've been waiting to see animated for a very long time. So, this episode, it surprised me, because as I said and clarified in my first impressions of Fate Extra Last Encore, I stated that I knew about Red Saber. I know she had this, like, catchphrase with Umu and stuff, but I didn't really know anything else. Like, I really didn't know much about her. And now seeing her for the first time, she is very, very, very different than I imagined. It's just completely unsettling in a way compared to how I thought she was going to be, because, like, I've watched Fate Stay Night, I watched, Fate Apocrypha, and after looking at the Saber classes from those two series and then seeing her in this, I'm like, yo, she's really different, like the exact opposite. I mean, yes, even more so than even Mordred as well from Fate Apocrypha. Yeah, I mean, it's like it's very different. Like, I mean, look, Saber in Fate Stay Night, she's this very calm, cautious, doesn't really speak a whole lot, just that type of character, very serious. And then you have, Mordred, which is more of a tomboyish type girl, and I mean, she is a little bit active, way more active than, regular Saber, but she's still kind of serious and level-headed in some ways. And then you look at Red Saber in this episode, and she's just like, whoa, energetic. Like, she is straight up energetic, has a lot of charisma. I'm like, I love her. She's just so different than what I imagined. I'm like, oh my god, no wonder so many love her. Why so many were talking about her over these many years that she's been, out and all that and revealed. Now it makes so much sense to me, because she's just so cute, adorable, and just, like I said, energetic. I can't get over that. The way she was moving, it just really has a big contrast when you compare it to the main male character, which that is something I do need to get into. So, the main male character, I want to be just straight up, okay? He's very bland. Like, extremely bland. Like, there is, his character right now is very dull, not very interesting, which that could potentially change because of the setup with this episode. I'll get into that in a second, but I mean, overall, from my impressions of him after the first episode and this episode, he's so bland. He lacks emotion, he doesn't really even get embarrassed, especially in the bath scene. I mean, just so many different things with his character. I'm just like, he's not really that interesting, and so I'm a little bit upset about that. I do hope he develops and changes, which his entire personality and the way he's acting now might be very important for later on, which that's what I'm going to get into now. So, it is kind of revealed that all of the masters have their memories, like, suppressed. They don't remember anything, but when they finally get up to the next floor, when they're competing in this game and all of that, basically they start to gain back their memories. And right now, our main male character, he still has yet to gain his memories back, which is very weird, it's very off, and so, you can see he's kind of gaining some memories back at the end of the episode, when, like, he enters dead face mode or whatever. Rin even states this, which, like, once again, very happy to see Rin. I'm like, yo, so Rin's gonna be in this series. That's really cool, but, I mean, get back on topic, though. It looks like he's starting to remember some things, like he has, like, this dead face mode, that's what Rin calls it, and that's basically it. But, I mean, he right now is like a blank slate, which I guess, since this is, I'm assuming this is coming from a game. Now, I know this is anime original, okay, like, I know Fate Extra Last Encore is anime original, but the original Fate Extra and all that actually was a game adaptation, if I am correct, and so, I'm assuming the reason why the main male character is, like, a blank person is because it's more along the lines of, like, an insert character. You insert yourself into the man's shoes, because that's usually how games are played sometimes, so that would probably make a lot of sense to me. But in terms of, incorporating that into an anime, that's a little bit weird, and it's very hard to do. If, Studio Shaft can pull it off, then, I'd be very amazed. But, I mean, right now, though, his character just, I don't know, it needs a little bit more characterization and work. It's obvious that he has something secret or hidden about him, like a power or something, because of towards the end, I mean, dead face and all of that, but that's basically it. We don't really know much else when it really comes to his character, besides him just, lacking memories, being very bland, and having something different about him in terms of dead face. That's basically it. So, moving past that point, let's talk about the beginning portion of this episode, which was exposition, info dumping the audience. Now, majority of that information I was already aware of, because if you've seen any other Fate series, like, Fate Apocrypha, or you've seen Fate Stay Night, all those type of series, Fate Zero, then you most likely already have a general understanding of what Fate is about. It's about servants, being summoned by the masters, and then they compete in the Holy Grail War, and the last one wins, they get their wish. That's a common concept of Fate. If there is one thing that always carries over from every single Fate series, even if the stories are kind of disconnected in some ways, one thing that does carry over is some of the rules, especially, them competing in a Holy Grail War. And so with that information at the beginning, I was like, okay, this is stuff I know. It's not something that, is for me, but I can definitely see it for newcomers to the series, because Fate Extra Last Encore can definitely be the starting point for many to the Fate, series, because you don't need to see previous works to understand what is going on. Now, in terms of the info dumping, I understood what was going on, but I want to ask, newcomers to the Fate series, how was this episode for you? Because I know Fate can get a little bit, info dumpy. I know it can. I remember that's what turned a lot of people off from it in Fate Zero, and sometimes in Fate Stay Night as well, is because it can be very info-y right at the beginning of the series, and everybody's like, oh man, this is dull, get to the serious stuff and all that, and I know that can turn many off from the series, so I'm just asking a quick question for you, newcomers, not just anime-onlys, but newcomers to the series. How was that segment for you? Besides the fan service, obviously. I know you're staring at that Umu, don't even. You're looking at that Umu butt, okay? Don't deny it. Now, I'm not going to show that on the screen because, YouTube wouldn't like that too much. But, I mean, yeah, I know you're looking at it, okay? Don't even deny, okay? That was some quality spice, though. It was. But, I mean, still. Besides that, though, how'd you feel about the exposition? I'm very curious. Now, the new stuff that was added was 128 masters, all competing on these floors called Seraph, moving on up, which that is a very weird, addition to the rules, because normally you don't have that many masters competing at once, which, if that really is the case, it's probably going to turn into a bloodbath. Like, I'm just going to be honest here. Like, Fate can get pretty violent quickly, and, if there really is 128 masters, and, like, okay, let's just say, I highly doubt, like, all 128 masters are gonna, be competing. There's gonna be probably a bunch killed off. But even if there's, like, 30 to 60, like, let's lower it even more, because I highly doubt they'll even probably animate that many. Let's say about 30 characters, or 20 characters. That is a lot of servants and masters, and I can't imagine how chaotic it can get later on in this series if that really is the case as they move up the floors. And I'm interested in what type of, servants we're going to see, and masters as well, because, I mean, for Ren to be here, and we already saw, Shinji, he's even in this episode, it makes you wonder if there's going to be other servants from other series, like, maybe Fate Apocrypha, or, Fate Stay Not, or other series I have yet to see as well. I wonder if more, like, servants and masters will pop up that we have seen, like classic servants and masters. That would be very cool if that was the case, but I have no idea. But the good thing is everybody is in the dark. Like I said in my little special video I made earlier this week, as I stated, this is an anime original show, so even the people from the original source, they don't even know what to expect. They have no idea what's probably going to happen, and that's the same as us as anime-onlys. We don't know what to expect. So everybody's on an equal playing field. We have no idea what to expect, which that makes me truly happy, because nobody can spoil anybody on the content that is probably coming. So, yeah. Anyways, let's talk about the bath scene, okay? So, besides the obvious fan service and just being straight quality, like, my god, like, quality, I will say, it really kind of dives a little bit more into, Red Saber Umu's, personality. I don't know if I should say Saber's name. I know her name. I don't know if I should. It's probably spoilers, even though I don't really know the backstory to the character. But, I probably shouldn't say the name, actually. I probably already mentioned it in my first impressions now I think about it. But you know what? I'm not going to say it just in case to keep you all out of it for, anyone that doesn't actually know her name. But Red Saber, though, in this episode, besides the obvious fan service, she is very, 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 very energetic. I mean, the way she was acting with the main male character, I do see how she is perfect for this, because if you're going to have a very dull MC, you're going to need someone very energetic that can carry some scenes, and that's exactly what she is when she was in that bath scene explaining everything. I'm like, man, just the way she had these little movements and all that, the way she moved around, or when she went outside and she saw the entire town, she's like, this is not what I expected, and you saw her get very happy and all that, and she was just enjoying all that. I'm like, yo, she's so cute. So, I mean, there was just so many little things from her that just made me smile, and there were so many different little things I saw throughout this episode that reminded me of, quality studio shaft, head tilts and stuff like that, what they normally do. I saw that quite a few times throughout, this episode of Fate Extra Last Encore. So, let's get into the second half, okay? So, the second half of the episode, we have it to where we find out about, what's going on this first floor. The first floor, apparently, is separated from the other floors. Like, the overall laws and everything, it has its own government, its own system, and all of that. Shinji is the mayor, which, oh my god, that's asking for trouble. But, I mean, Shinji is the mayor, and apparently it's separated from the others. If you don't want to be in the Holy Grail War, if you don't want to be, fighting and all that and risking your life, then you can just, cash in your servant, throw the servant away, and you could just remain here on this floor and just have your days, filled with your happiness, joy, and pleasure, basically. And that's pretty much what was being explained there. And you could see to where a bunch of people gave up their dreams. They didn't want to continue moving forward. And I can definitely see this aspect of what was being mentioned having effect on Red Saber. We could see from her character in this second episode that she clearly believes in dreams, looking towards the sky and, looking at the vast sky of dreams and stuff. You can see that is a big thing with her character. Multiple times throughout this episode, the way she acted, it seemed like she was, really like people that had something they wanted or whatever. But then she got a little bit upset when everybody just basically gave up their dreams, threw away their servants, and didn't want anything. You see how upset she got, especially when she stormed out of the bar and went outside without the MC. So she is definitely attached to dreams. That probably is something to do with her past and what probably caused her to become, a heroic spirit. We'll find out probably eventually. But overall, though, definitely something big going on there with her character, and how basically she doesn't like it when people give up their dreams. She likes people dreaming for something and all of that. For instance, a wish, Holy Grail War. So, yeah. Anyways, let's move into the next segment, which is, the police girls that pop up. Now, this is a little quick thing I just want to mention. Obviously, Red Saber has good taste. She liked the police women. I was like, bro, what? Like, when she was just fangasming over the female police women, I'm like, is this really happening? Is she really just... That made me pleased. I'm like, okay, it's very obvious she has good taste. She has very good taste. So, that adds a couple points right then and there to her, just for the taste and the outfits and stuff. So, just quality Umu right there. Then we get into Shinji. So Shinji, this is the weird part about the episode. We saw the first episode last week, obviously, and we saw what Shinji did to the MC. But when you go into the Shinji moment in this episode, it looks like Shinji is not even aware of who the MC is, or not even acting like he knows the MC, which is very, very weird. And the way it's implied is like there was some form of vast time skip, like maybe traveling between the floors of Seraph and all that, there's like a big time delay. Like, okay, example, when the MC was going up and all that through the elevator with, Saber, what if there was like a long time delay to where maybe like 5-10 years passed, and then he arrived on that floor? That could be a potential possibility, and so that could be the reason why maybe Shinji doesn't remember. Or this is a completely different Shinji, because we gotta remember that there's NPCs and stuff like that in this world, so for all we know, the Shinji we saw in the first episode might have been an NPC, or could have been the real Shinji, and this Shinji in this episode might be an NPC or the real Shinji. I have no idea, but something like that most likely is going to play a big part in whatever's going on with Shinji. So, yeah. And also he attacks, Red Saber and our MC, so, kind of being scummy. Typical Shinji being typical Shinji. I wouldn't trust the man at all, and, he's such a scumbag in so many ways. He really irritates me with how he acts. But, yeah. That's pretty much it. So, let me know your thoughts. I mean, how do you feel about, all the things that were revealed in this episode. How do you feel about Umu? How do you feel about our MC? How do you feel about the story, the setup, and all of that? Please be honest in the comments below. And if you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And I love you guys. You have a wonderful day or night, wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.